Good evening, Britain. Here is your week's news from the 24th of October to Sunday. The baby deliverers, the sick people cab drivers, and the psychic medics all went on strike this Monday for 4 hours over a 1% pay increase. I say we give it to them. They save actual lives. Run and hide. These strikes hit over growing concern over the NHS stability and vulnerability in other people's hands. Labour's bill last week proposed to overturn Andrew Lansley's reforms by stopping the privatisation of the NHS. I'm bare worried. Does no one remember the Olympic ceremony in 2012? Such community. Scottish powers to increase in the Smith Commission. They're allowed to set their own income tax, create new benefits, give the vote to 16 and 17-year-olds, and be involved in decisions regarding the BBC Charter. This will mean they are now in control of 14 billion of income tax and welfare in the UK. It's Braveheart all over again. What's in it for the English, Dave? Billions every year in oil money. Does this mean the UK will get the money back we bailed them out from Scottish banks? So the Unionist parties have talked as though they've won but behaved as though they've lost. So the only answer is for people to vote UKIP. At present we are run by Scottish MPs. Whatever party, so there will never be a change until we get them out. Today we have Martha here in Reading to play Olivia's Play Your Cards Right. Tonight we have a special edition, the Ed Miliband Spectacular. So, Martha, the first statistic is, in a recent survey, 20% claimed they understood what Ed Miliband stood for. Now, what percentage of people do you think believed he was a weak leader? Is it higher or is it lower than 20%?
Higher.
Higher? You sure?
Sure.
You're going for higher. Let's have a look. What do you think, audience? Is she right? It is higher. Well done. You get to move on to the next stage. Now, when asked what percentage believed he would be up to the job of Prime Minister, do you think it'd be higher or lower than 59%?
Lower.
Lower. You're going lower.
Mm-hmm.
Not much confidence in old Ed, eh? Let's have a look. And you were right. It was lower. Now your final question. It's getting tense. This is to win the speedboat. You want the speedboat, don't you?
Yeah, I really want.
Really want the speedboat. Okay. So Martha, as of November 2014, what percentage of people would vote Labour if there was an election tomorrow? Is it higher or lower than 18%? Now I want you to think about this. This is important. This is for the speedboat.
Higher.
Higher?
Higher.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Would you like me to turn over the card?
Yes, please.
It's tense here in the studio, guys. It is higher! You've won the speedboat. Well done. Where do you live?
Cheltenham.
Nowhere near the sea. Okay. Now, we know what the poll says, but Infocorp wants to find out what you think.
I think his image portrayed in the media is very mundane. He doesn't really do anything. He's not very charismatic. He's just a grey thing. That's what I think.
He's kind of goofy. Don't take him very seriously. Not likeable.
I don't know too much about Ed, but my dad thinks he's a bit of a muppet. I think he makes himself look a bit sillier than he usually is, but I think the public, the media and stuff has made him look a lot worse than he is. He's probably a nice guy.
A good political leader. I think the most important thing, especially at someone my age, has got to be likeable for the people. Seem like they're actually interested in benefiting you rather than just benefiting themselves. Yeah, charismatic.
I think what makes a good political leader is someone relatable, someone that can relate to the public, knows what the public needs. I feel like having a higher class of political leaders doesn't relate to everybody in the population.
Someone who's different, someone who's strong, someone who believes in what they say, also someone who is willing to take risks and follow them through. Also someone who is powerful, but maybe powerful in ways that are subtle
remember who the real enemy is. Theresa May this week has outlined the counter-terrorism bill. The threats have been analysed and the statistics have been counted. This is the verdict. Exit checks by next April. (138) convictions serving prison sentences. 40 different terrorist plots have been stopped. The bill will outline guidance to schools and universities of extremist radical speakers. It will be made illegal for insurance companies to pay ransoms to ISIS. Those who go abroad to fight will not be able to return to the UK. Reports surrounding the murder of Lee Rigby have been announced this week on Tuesday the 25th of November. What has come out of the report and is now open to debate is internet privacy laws, as his killers described the premeditated attack on Facebook 5 months earlier. The social networking site has now been accused of aiding terrorism. However, the verdict of the report stated that the attack was not preventable. Fiscal drag.
I think tax should be lower because it's just quite high and everyone moans about it, don't they?
I think higher taxes because, for example, when I went away to live in Australia, they all pay a lot more taxes and their economy is so much more stable and they're all benefited from the government. Whereas over here, we are paying taxes and I know it would be hard to pay more, but we're getting less benefits from it, so we're seeing less of what we're paying, so higher.
I think tax should be lower because, or at least lower for people that can't pay as much as other people, because it affects cost of living and what people can afford to do in society as a whole.
I think taxes should be lower because, especially with younger people and older people, younger people in the sense of that, say if you're trying to fend for yourself in the world, especially with buying houses, starting your own life, taxes are a big important thing that is kind of a barrier and doesn't help you get on your own, and then it forces people to claim benefits and do all these other things, and I think if they were lower it would be easier for people to be more independent and stuff like that.
2 seconds to take a life. Net migration announced this week was 260,000, an increase of 78,000. This is getting boring now. This is so boring. David Cameron has outlined his immigrant proposals in his speech on Friday. He stated that what attracts immigrants to the UK is state money. As a result, immigrants will not be entitled to tax credits or social housing until they have been conditioned to British values, undergoing a 4-year rigorous sentence.
Your Infocore forecast and weather with Olivia.
In the South J, there is a wealth of rain coming in from the east, with fiscal drag pouring in from mansion tax. In Scotland, the clouds of power have cleared, with new measures on income tax and welfare. The coastal lines are busy with the 260,000 immigrants. The tide is high, but I'm holding on. Things are getting humid in South East London Abbey Wood, with a £6 million renovation due to Crossrail. In Bristol, 13 men have totalled 75 years of sentences due to sex crimes. Good evening, Britain. There was the news.